The Millerites were a fascinating religious movement that emerged in the United States during the early 19th century, led by the charismatic preacher William Miller. Rooted in fervent biblical interpretation and apocalyptic fervor, the Millerite movement captivated thousands with its belief in the imminent return of Jesus Christ. The early 19th century was a time of religious fervor and revivalism in the United States, known as the Second Great Awakening. It was within this atmosphere that William Miller, a farmer and Baptist preacher from upstate New York, began to delve deeply into the scriptures, particularly the books of Daniel and Revelation. Miller's intensive study led him to conclude that he had uncovered a precise timeline for the second coming of Christ. He focused particularly on Daniel 8:14, which speaks of a sanctuary being cleansed after 2,300 days. Miller interpreted these days as years and calculated that the cleansing of the sanctuary represented the purification of the earth by fire at Christ's return, which he predicted would occur around 1843 or 1844. Central to Millerite theology was the belief in the imminent second coming of Jesus Christ. Millerites emphasized the need for repentance, conversion, and preparation for the approaching end times. They viewed current events and world events through a prophetic lens, interpreting signs of the times as evidence that the end was near. The Millerites also held to a literal interpretation of biblical prophecy, particularly regarding the book of Daniel and the visions of Revelation. They believed that the prophecies foretold specific events leading up to Christ's return and sought to decipher their meaning through careful study and calculation. Miller's message spread rapidly throughout the northeastern United States, attracting a diverse array of followers from various religious backgrounds. Millerite preachers held fervent revival meetings, disseminated pamphlets and newspapers, and eagerly proclaimed the message of Christ's imminent return. As the predicted date for Christ's return approached, known as the Great Disappointment, anticipation reached a fever pitch among the Millerites. However, when the anticipated event failed to materialize in 1843 or 1844 as expected, many followers were left disillusioned and bewildered. Despite the disappointment of the failed prophecy, the Millerite movement did not fade away entirely. Some followers recalculated the date for Christ's return, while others sought to understand the significance of the Great Disappointment within a theological framework. Out of the Millerite movement emerged several new religious denominations, most notably the Seventh-day Adventist Church, founded by former Millerite leaders such as Ellen G. White. The Seventh-day Adventist Church incorporated elements of Millerite theology while introducing new doctrines and practices, including the observance of the Sabbath on Saturday. The Millerite movement left a lasting impact on American religious history, highlighting the fervent millenarianism and apocalyptic expectations that characterized the Second Great Awakening. It also spurred the growth of new religious movements and contributed to the diversification of religious beliefs in the United States during the 19th century.